things, and I think he's in the right place, and we have the right person to speak to us today or this evening. After that, we'll have a discussion of what we call plenary. Before the plenary, we'll have a discussion, and we'll have two people discussing this topic after our keynote speaker has spoken. And this will be Mr. Inomugisha Kreya and Mr. Kanzra Damian. And then we'll open the conversation to all of us. We'll be able to share our views in different ways. And we'll make sure that whoever has what to say is able to say it. And the way we will move is to make sure that it is interactive, that also we do not keep digressing from what we are supposed to be discussing. Now, without much ado, I am going to move very fast to the opening remarks and invite our dear Vice Chancellor to speak to us. Sir.
Thank you very much, the moderator, Mr. Kakonge. I'm rather happy this evening to note that the students of Valley community is in attendance in a good number, so clap for yourselves. This is a good culture, and this is a way to go. Because when you look at the topic, for us in academics, relevance of education. Now, one, what type of education? What level of education? Which country? Developed or undeveloped? But when you come, like these numbers, you share to know. The biggest problem in life, guest of honor and moderator and members of staff, the biggest problem in life is one, always think you know. Always think you know. And this is why we say that always be anxious to learn. I'm happy that you are now anxious to learn. There are some of you who have not formed vision, personal visions. I know many of you have not formed personal visions. You have not formed directions. And therefore, how can the university have a vision and culture? A vision and culture of a university will develop from the behavior, the thinking, and the conduct of university students like you. Now, with these new external speakers, I'd like you to listen to them attentively, ask them, and don't feel shy to ask. Always try to know. So, in many years, you have been here. We have not having many public lectures, but ideally, if we could have one every month, then you would go different from the way you came. Make sure that you don't go back the way you came. You should be different, because learning makes you different. So our guest speakers, you are most welcome to our young university. Valley University, it is one of the youngest universities in Uganda, but progressing. So, but it's progressing because of your support. Like, we invited you and you came. So with these remarks, I call upon you. I call upon Mr. Hilary Igambe, Mr. Hilary Gambere is, ideally, they should have given me your CV, so that now, Igambere comes from a sub-county which was formerly part of Bumbiri. I have heard about him as a motivational speaker, and recently during Innovation Week, the senior RDC was here. When I called him, he told me the person who can fit in my shoes is here, Igambere. And in his opening remarks, I said, this is the right person. So, the one who chose our guest speaker, I thank you very much for being focused and choosing on Hilary Gambere to set standards for us. Today is the beginning. Today is the beginning, not the end. And for us, for me, we aim at continuous improvement. I'm not happy because about a quarter of the university population are seated outside. Maybe next time we shall be in the open. Yes, much better, it's fresher and so on. But there is a new hall there, I don't know whether we can fit there. Why? We can be in the open, it's much better. So Mr. Hilary Gambere, I don't know his background, I'm sorry, they didn't tell me. This is Sharon should have developed the background and the other people so that I introduced him. And the person. But what I know is that is near Chitab Seminary. He comes from near Chitab Seminary, the institution which I have always admired for its orderliness, cleanliness, and sense of direction. Yes, Chitab Seminary. So you can see how he's dressed. I hope even his speech and what he's going to say will reflect the characteristics and elements of a seminary. A seminary does not mean Catholics. A seminary means an institution of training for values, for culture, for modeling. Some of us, when we see what is happening in Uganda, we feel sick. So, but now that we are beginning to bring people like this, they will start from here, and then they train you when you are selecting counselors, when you are selecting leaders. So you give us leaders who can give us a direction. So with these remarks and observation, Mr. Hilary Gambere, please set the ball rolling. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, VC. Hilary, you please step forward.
Yeah, our Vice Chancellor, Valley University of Science and Technology, our University Secretary, the academic staff, other administrators around, the Guild Council of this mighty university, dear students, I've been given 30 minutes, so I will need to run very fast. My name is Gambere Hilary. I did my senior 4 in 1994. Got first grade with 60 distinctions. I went on to do my A-level at St. Joseph's Mbarara. From there, I went to Institute of Teacher Education, Chambogo, where I got a diploma in education, secondary. We were 450. I was among 2 students who got second class upper diploma. I went on to Makerere University, did a Bachelor of Education. Our Faculty of Education were 900 students. Only 40 got second class upper, and I was among them. I went on to do my Master's in Education, Makerere University. I became a classroom teacher, a deputy headmaster in a religious founded school in Chitabi, headed by the Banakaror brothers. So I was a deputy. I went on to be a headmaster, secondary school, and I've been education motivational speaker for the last 28 years. I think it lies on the tray as to why His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni had to recompense me and appoint me as an assistant RDC. Again, I think also from 2008, I've been also attached to Office of the President, ISO, under Political and Media Affairs before I became an assistant RDC. It is a singular honor through you, Vice Chancellor, to be around. I want to debunk your claim that this is a young university. Yes, it is young, but it is progressing very, very well. And as government, we salute what is taking place here. It is a pinnacle of academia. I want to salute Valley University of Science and Technology, as in the packages you are giving your students. I'm very convinced it is going to cause a holistic footprint among our students. The other time I was here on Science Innovation Week, it was a singular honor. I think Valley University is becoming a unique university. There are some universities I know in Uganda. They are also called the University of Science and Technology, but I have not seen any exhibition there. So it seems the teaching is only confined in the classroom. So you, as Valley University, you are giving a unique package. My topic is on relevance of education in the 21st century. I'm seeing the word relevance, I'm seeing the word education, I'm also seeing 21st century. I will not go to definitions of education because I'm talking to a university family. But I can briefly say education is a process of acquiring knowledge, skills, values, and habits. Education comes from a Latin word, educare, meaning to bring up, to nourish. According to Professor Gautam Patra, he says the goal of education is to develop physical, mental, emotional, social, moral, and spiritual aspects of life. That Professor Patra goes on to say education is a long process. He in fact saying education starts from cradle to grave. So education is what you learn from the time of birth until you go to the graveyard. I think you have understood that. Vice Chancellor, before we talk about the relevance of education in the 21st century, you know, a senior educationist, he echoed on something. Which education? Which country? But Vice Chancellor, you will permit me to narrow it to our Ugandan, okay, Africa, our Ugandan setting. Before we talk about the relevance of education, what are we seeing in this world? Dear students and the staff here, we are having a lot of unemployment. People are getting out of university, but they are not having jobs. There is unemployment. there is moral decadence. Do you know what is happening? I want to salute Mr. Kakonge. Now, his civil organization sometimes is fighting against corruption. We are seeing, our moral fiber is under attack. There is drug addiction. When I talk of drug, addiction of any nature, it is there. There is decharacterization. We are seeing homosexuality developing. I'm looking at very many things. There is technological advancement. Is it bringing a good thing, or it has caused a negative impact? You go to a social media, instead of using technology to improve ourselves, we are seeing a young generation, they are using social media to abuse people. Abandon bakubikango feel. I want you to ask yourself, how are we using technology? This digital era, this information era, what is happening? There is a lot of sectarian tendencies. There is parochialism. Americans are going to the moon, but we are thinking about my religion, my tribe, my clan. When you meet someone, you don't see him as a human being. No, quickly you put on tribal lenses. Is he a Catholic? Is he a Protestant? Is he a Muslim? We have been in the electioneering period. People would say, let us vote ours. This one is a Catholic. This one is Anglican. This is a Muslim. So I'm saying those are called sectarian tendencies. There is parochialism, environmental degradation. Everywhere you go, you meet plastic bottles. I was coming and following someone with a very good car, V8 Land Cruiser. He was throwing plastic bottles, highly educated. Relevance of education in the 21st century. I've talked about, yes. What ethos do we have towards vocational stroke technical education? Ethos. I'm sorry, part of our education in Africa is still colonial. We believe when you go to school, after graduating, put on a tie, go and look for a job. We are, when these whites, imperialists, colonialists, I can say, when they brought education, they were training clerks. They wanted clerks to work in their colonial administration. Do we need clerks now? Our education should aim to produce what? Can we become job creators other than job seekers? You find someone has done a diploma at the very University of Science and Technology. You meet him putting on a tie, looking for a job. You find someone has done a degree in computer science, you find him on the street looking for a job. Someone has studied a Bachelor of Business Administration, is on the street looking for a job. What is in his mind is to work in a bank, become an accountant in a circle, become a bursar. So his mind is rotating on that. So when we say relevance of education in the 21st century, we must look at when you get that degree, that diploma, how can you become a job creator? When I did my Bachelor of Education, people saw the work. Okay, when you do Bachelor of Education, you should only go and teach. But I had to think beyond that. I said, how can I use my Bachelor of Education? I became education motivational speaker. I've moved around the country. And sometimes I can arrogantly say, when I'm making a presentation, there is one time when I went to Immaculate, I was a guest speaker. I spoke for only 15 minutes. They gave me my 1 million. You have done pharmacy. How can you like improve and do something outside the pharmacy, selling drugs? Dear students and the academic staff here, education in the 21st century should be skills based. It should promote skills. I don't know whether I'm talking to you. It should cause creativity. It should cause critical thinking. To me, that education is relevant in the 21st century. Education in the 21st century must embrace technological advancement. It should be able to produce global citizens. You should be cognizant of the global affairs. You should be a communicator. Even God was a communicator. In the book of Genesis, you remember he said, can we create someone in our own image? God was a communicator. Dear students, whatever course you are doing here, aim at being a communicator. If you go and study Bachelor of Business Administration and you have developed a business concept paper, you should be able to communicate and people understand you so that you can win that tender. You should be a communicator. Every field, call it education, call it computer, call it business, call it agriculture. How many minutes?
You want to finish?
Education in the 21st century should make you should become a value to your community. Yes, you have graduated, so what? What value are you taking in your community?
Start with yourself.
Okay? Become a value in your community. Look at your community challenges. Be an agent of solution. Mahatma Gandhi said, be an agent of the change you wish to see in this world. Education in the 21st century must make us exploit the resources around us. Africa, we are having very many resources. For example, here in Bushenyi, we are growing matoke. What value addition, apart from eating matoke, what other products can we get out of bananas? Let us exploit the resources. The other time, fuel price has gone high. And I saw some boys on TikTok, younger, I think they are primary dropouts, I don't know. They got plastic bottles and they are getting fuel out of plastic bottles. Education in the 21st century should help us to be friendly to nature. Look what is happening. There is a lot of climate change. Yesterday, I was in a workshop in Mbarara. In 1960s, in 1950s, Chigezi was called Switzerland of Africa, very cold. There was no malaria cases. What has happened now to Chigezi? They have high cases of malaria. Why? environmental degradation. Education of the 21st century should help us to live nature the way we should live it better, the way we found it. We have been agents of environmental degradation. Education in the 21st century should help graduates or learners to unlock their potentiality to fullness. When you meet a student, you say, "What is your dream?" He says, "My dream is to be an actor. My dream is to be a comedian. My dream is to be a musician." How is our education trying to promote that? So the relevance of education in the 21st century must create a conducive atmosphere for the learners, for the graduates to unlock their potentiality to fullness, to become best versions of themselves, to be able to reinvent themselves. To me, that education is very relevant. Education in the 21st century should be above academic grades. We should not see education as in getting academic certificate. No. As you are here, don't look at only getting that academic certificate. Make sure that you become all round. Become a best version of yourself. In fact, I've forgotten an author. He said, education is that education that remains with you even after school.
It's Castle, Professor Castle.
Yeah. Education in the 21st century should aim at innovations. Innovations. We need to be very creative. Very creative. And we are having a lot of resources. I always, when you go to Mtoma Umchianga, it is called Umchianga, people are producing warage. We are having students studying chemistry. How can we change that warage into another product? One time I got that warage, used a matchbox, I saw fire. I was asking myself, if we become very creative, there is something we can get out. Probably, lastly, education in the 21st century should debunk, disambiguate SOs we have towards technical and vocational education. Do you know that people believe that technical stroke vocational education is for the failures? Asian tigers, countries like Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, they have moved very forward because they embraced vocational stroke technical education. Here in Uganda, when you go to a technical, they say that one is a failure. In fact, I always tell students wherever you move, technical and vocational education is for the gifted learners. So, dear students, yes, it's good to get that degree. But apart from that degree, what other skill do you have? Apart from teaching, do you know where I have earned? I'm a writer. I'm a speech writer. At one time, I was a speech writer for 5 MPs in the parliament. And every time I would go research, when they are making a presentation, I would go and make a research and I would be paid. So you find a student, which degree are you? I'm doing a Bachelor of Education. What are your teaching subjects? English language and literature in English. and you believe your work is only to teach English and literature. That studying English language, literature in English, should help you to do a multitude of things. You can be a writer. You can be a speech writer. Think about. You find students, which course are you doing? I'm doing Bachelor of Computer Science. Then you find him on the street looking for jobs. Can't you go and develop an app? For example, in Greater Busheni, if you go and develop an app, for example, if you want anything, University Secretary will go there. We want 50 bunches of matoke. We are having a party. What and what will go there. That app will take you to someone that is having matoke. And you will find a number there, call. Now, like now in Greater Busheni, we are not having an app. You remember Safe Border, Kakonge in Kampala? That person who developed a safe border, you would type, it would tell you the number of the motorcycle, the person riding that motorcycle with his ID. Then as you would move, it would calculate the distance you pay. Then the owners of that safe app, they would get their what? Their commission. So dear students, you are doing Bachelor of Computer Science. How can you become innovative? Quickly. So education in the 21st century must debunk that white collar job attitude. Get that education. Go and think about guys like this man who was called Bill Gates. These are guys who went in their rooms and they became innovative. This man who started Facebook, they started from the room. This man called Jack Ma, the Chinese billionaire with a net worth of $45 billion. He has a company, it is called Alibaba, electronic company. He's making a lot of money. He's connecting with factories. So if you want anything, you go to Alibaba, they will send it to you wherever you are. You pay. So, dear students of Valley University of Science and Technology, please, whatever you do, the education that you are going to get from here should be in tandem with the name of your University of Science and Technology. We are convinced as you get your course, think about what you can do apart from looking for a job. Become a job creator. Permit me to stop here as I will be supplementing because time is not my best ally.
That is not sufficient enough. Now my colleagues from seated outside the room, we need your clap. 1, 2, 3, go. That is not sufficient. Just because you are seated outside. Now, thank you very much, Hilary. I think you spoke so well and within the time allocated to you. You used actually rest time, so we'll save enough time for the rest. Now, before I invite the two, I want to summarize what you said. For me, as a moderator, that's my role, to make sure that we do not miss what he said. First of all, from your last statement, is that education should help us solve the problems of our times. The problems that we face today. Because he talked about several things. He talked about discipline and values, our value system. You give people jobs, but they don't want to do them. Those you tell to come at 8, they will come at 10 to work. Then you say lunchtime is at 1, they will leave at midday and return at 4. Do you have the same problems here? And that is the problem we face today. That people today employed in jobs do not do the jobs the way they are supposed to do them. And therefore we get a problem. When he talks about big companies like Alibaba, you have people who sacrifice with their time. People who work 16 hours a day. Here in Uganda, people don't even work 9 hours a day. Our value system must change. He talked about that. I want to recap for you that we need dreamers. People who dream and innovate. You have to create ideas and solutions to the problems you face. Some of us think the problems are big. The problems in your family. For example, malaria, which still kills. In Bushenyi, they said last year we had 600 cases of malaria treated across our health facilities, and we would want to reduce that. So how do you do it with the skills you are gaining at Valley University? Innovation. So don't think about big problems. He talked about rising above our grades and achieving the best versions of ourselves. What is the best version of yourself? What is it that you want to be that is different from what you are today? Or you even don't know what you are today. So you cannot define your future because you're even not sure what you are today. You are just a student waiting for your father's tuition and pocket money. If you are still at that level, you still have a problem. If you are in year 2, you need to return to 1.1 and start again. Sometimes we need, they talk about learning, relearning, and unlearning. To remove the things we know from our heads and put in new things Gambino was talking about. Nature sensitive. How do we deal with nature? How do we tap into nature, our environment, and the value that comes from it, conserve and exploit for the greater good? He talked about that. The shift, I think the shift in or balanced approach, STEM versus humanities. Where is Dr. Maramis? He says he is the only humanities person who has suffered in the world. Shift. I was reading somehow, Hillary, and I think you would want to talk about science versus arts, STEM versus humanities. Some people want to say this one is better, water is better than fire, fire is better than water, and things like those. And I don't know, because I'm not a discussant, and I'm throwing it back to you later. But the solution-based approach to education, you talked about technical and vocational training. Those of you who do not understand and appreciate that, in COVID in 2020, for 3 years, us who studied humanities, we know what was happening. Fortunately for me, the thieves were stealing public money, so I was running after them. So I remained in business, because there was COVID money and it was being stolen. But if you were... I became relevant because I needed to capture the COVID thieves. But if you were there, you were counseling people whose families were breaking down, and then they were not allowed to come to the sub-county, you know what happened at home. You know what happened. But if you were a plumber, an electrician, an agriculturist, a vet, you could inseminate an animal, a pig, a cow, a goat. I am told even pigs are inseminated. You were in business. And therefore, you are in the right place when you are at Valley. Because those are some of the things, the skills you are going to be learning. And then the last one he talked about is the technological advancement. How are we using technology? For me, it's beyond use. It's about how do we innovate technology. How are we adapting? Many things are changing. Today, the richest men on earth are into technology. Start from the first one, Elon Musk. Who is the second? So let's talk about the rich men in the world. Elon Musk is in technology. Aerospace, whatever. Another one? Who? Mark Zuckerberg is in technology. After, who else? Jack Ma. Jeff Bezos is in technology. So how many of those? Then the next ones are into industry. Those who are producing, those who are processing, those who are in metal, whatever fabrication, there are no rich men on earth who are doing public speaking. I did not want you to leave the floor without being challenged. Now with that, no, I will come to you, don't worry.
You know, when you talk for these educated people, doctors, professors, sometimes forgive us really. But I forgot one point. Dr. Enos, the Vice Chancellor. Education in the 21st century to be relevant must promote morality. I've forgotten that man who said it. He said, education without morality produces educated devils. Another one says, education without morality produces clever devils. Dear students, getting a university education does not give you audacity to become immoral, to act against the norms of society. You are a girl, you are at this good university, University of Science and Technology, that because I'm a university student, I should put on a mini skirt. You dress indecently. To me, education in the 21st century to be relevant must promote morality. Go to boys. You find a graduate is putting on damage. Vice Chancellor, I don't know whether you know damage. They put on jeans and I don't know, Okakonge will explain it. A university student, you should be cream de la cream. Best of the best, as in morals. If you are a university girl, your community is looking to you, is taking you as someone special. So you must go with that identity card of morality. I beg to submit.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Notwithstanding the fact that some of those who live immoral lives have become the richest people on earth. But that is not to say that what he's saying is wrong. I'm giving you the other side. Because in university, one of the things that education should help you to do is to think. To think. If you stop thinking, then you go home and do things that thinkers do not do. Now, before I invite two people who are going to look into what you said, I want to leave something to you. What are the 21st century problems that you think the 21st century education should unlock? So when you come to school, what problems did you live in your village, in your community, in your household, in your sub-county, in your district, in your country that you think the education we are acquiring in the 21st century should unlock? Because until we tease out those challenges, those problems, those 21st century problems, then we cannot appreciate the fact that the 21st century education is going to be useful to us. Now, I'm going to invite a lady and a gentleman. Like the VC said, I also don't have their profiles, but you know them. I'm going to start, you know, they usually say ladies first. Claire, you want to start? So I'm going to invite Claire, Miss Claire Tuinomuchisha, to discuss the topic, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, our moderator, our vice chancellor, university secretary, academic registrar, administrators, academic staff, guild council representatives, plus the entire vast community. A very good evening. My name is Tuinomuchisha Claire, a student here at Vary University of Science and Technology, pursuing Bachelor of Arts with Education, Kiswahili and Entrepreneurship. I'm the guild speaker at Vary University of Science and Technology. I'm here as a discussant on this topic of relevance of education in the 21st century. I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, the invited guest has really spoken. You know, it's not easy to talk after the main speaker seriously, but as, like me as a discussant, I'm going to introduce to you what is education, then 21st century education. Then I'll read you the key features that the main speaker has talked about. As I read, I would like you to be writing. Then after, you will read. I said I'm going to read you the key features the main speaker has talked about in the 21st century. Then you will be writing them. After, you will pose your burning questions to him. Seriously, I want us to make use of him. First of all, we all know that education refers to the acquisition, retention, and application of knowledge and skills. Then on the 21st century, we see that it's the modern approach to learning that prepares students for today's fast-changing world. It doesn't focus on knowledge. It's not knowledge-based, but more of skills. Then, let's now go on key features. As you list them, then you will pose your burning questions to the main speaker. He has tackled about critical thinking, which refers to the solving problems and making decisions. Critical thinking, solving problems, and making decisions. The next point was creativity and innovation, which involved generating new ideas. Then he spoke about communication skills, expressing ideas clearly. Digital literacy, using technology responsibly and effectively. Collaboration, global awareness, understanding different cultures and world issues. Then he has also talked about lifelong learning, which includes continuously learning new skills throughout life. Mr. Moderator, allow me to pen off from here.
Thank you very much, my dear sister. Now, your brother, Mr. Kanza Domian, sir, come and speak to us.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Protocol observed. Before you here on the podium is Demiano Kanzra, who is the Vice Guild President, Valley University of Science and Technology. Amongst the 42 rules of power, I know the first one is never to outshine my master. Mr. Guild President, Mr. Tindebwa, can you stand up for recognition? I salute you, sir. I can't speak before I introduce him before you. I thank you for being here. I thank the organizing team together with our AR. Ladies and gentlemen, I really thank the guest speaker for what he has told us in front of us here. Really, we are becoming encouraged because of his words. For me, as the VC has said, that he doesn't know our profile. I'm still the current speaker of Bitoma Town Council, and these days I work with the local government. I'm still here, but that is how I am. Possibly, Mr. Speaker, who was here, has touched me on technology and advancement. Ladies and gentlemen, here, it is only Africa whereby we learn theory and practical, but more we rely on theory. People from outside Africa have done what they have learned, and that is education. He talked of this great man called Elon Musk. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in few time whereby we shall see half of Americans going to Mars, because Mr. Elon Musk, the son of Elon Musk, has just innovated that very place to be the space for Americans, to decrease on overpopulation of that American. Because when you see the technology and advancement of this education we have, really those people outside are not sleeping. We have to be enthusiastic. We have to create in ourselves why we study and why we are in university, like very University of Science, and there is word technology. Because when you look at these great men, the Bill Gates, the Elon Musk, the Warren Buffett, and the educationists, these people we call the Howard Gardner from USA, Ken Robinson from UK, Soget Mitra from India, those people practice what they study. I'm really grateful to hear from our guest speaker encouraging words to put in practice what we study, from where we start and where we end. For example, I'm talking about this great man Elon Musk who started this what we call SpaceX. When we go deep to see what we call the world order, if you deeply research about the new world order, it means sometimes many of us use what we call AIs, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and others. It means that the generation which will come due to education will be more of great than ever. You have to believe about the SpaceX. This is the American aerospace that technological company which was founded in 2022. But it is now growing. Really, in Africa, it is we people who fight for this land we are standing on. But Americans have started fighting for space, for sure. We are still fighting for the land standing on, but those people are fighting for the space. Meaning for us, we don't know how to use our space, and we don't know why we have this very space with us. So that's why our speaker encouraged us, please, to put in practice what we study. And I'm very happy, Mr. RDC, Mr. President has increased something on when you look at teachers' faces these days. So when you look at teachers' faces these days, you really, there is something which they are waiting for in time. So, Mr. Moderator, you allow me to stop from here because of the limited time, and thank you very much for everything here, and allow other discussants to join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Do they still call you Mr. Speaker, sir? So thank you very much, and your colleague Claire, for sharing your thoughts and ideas. But you see, when you look at even at the end of the World War II, the problem of ending the war was imminent. So one person said, "I will find a way." Okay, one person said, "I will find a way." What was the way of ending the war? Who can tell me what was the way of ending the war? The bomb, the nuclear bomb. Okay, and it has not been used again in another war. The World War II. So the point is, education can only be relevant if it imparts in you the skills that enable you to resolve the problems that we face today. And that is where I want to begin, because I do not want random conversations. So I'm going now to give the microphone to each one of you, whoever wants to speak. And before I do that, I want two things. Tell us, what is it that we face today that requires that our education system responds to it? And so how do we tailor this education system to do so? Okay? So that way we'll be able to appreciate the conversation. Instead of having random discussions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. You have spoken so well. You should come back again. Next time you should. I was here, I think, 2 years ago for a public lecture again. I was one of the speakers. And so we do not want to forget that we were here. We want to remember that we came and churned knowledge out of our conversation. Now we want someone to help me take this microphone. Who is going to help me take the microphone? Sharon, are you coming? At least I know Sharon in the room. Please clap for Sharon. Now let me talk about you. I worked with Sharon before she came here. When she came here, the university has helped her to become a very improved person. That is how education can be important. So Sharon, please take the microphone starting from there. And 1 minute, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Ifye Josiah, PhD. So I have gone through the 4 walls of university from primary, secondary, bachelor, master's, PhD. So now I want to answer some questions that will guide the discussion. Number 1 question. What really is the mandate of a university? Why is this question necessary? Because there are different levels of education. So if the discussant can answer that question, it will now help us to answer the next question. Number 2 question. Why is it that when education is mentioned, the university takes the blame when we have other levels of education? So the first question, what really is the mandate of a university? The next question, when there is a decline in education, why is the university the one to take the blame? Number 3, you talk about students being very creative when we leave school. You will know that most creativity will require policy. This policy will pass through the government, most probably the parliament. So after being very creative and being very educated, the people that will discuss your creativity are people who are not educated. So number 3 question, what is the place of the government in creating an enabling environment for educational creativity in the 21st century? What is the place of the government in creating an enabling environment for educational creativity in the 21st century? Number 4. When the richest men were mentioned, all that were mentioned were in Western world. And if you look at them, they have an history of creativity. But when we come to Africa, the richest men are in politics. I don't think if you go to Uganda today and you rank the richest men 1 to 10, I don't think there will be any professor, even if he is very, very creative. So, my question is, if the richest men in Africa are in politics, who didn't even have senior 4, how then can education be taken seriously in the 21st century? And finally, my number 5. Are there available capitals for starters who are creative? Because if you finish dreaming and you have a very beautiful idea, and then you came from one village in Rubirizi, where you have not finished thinking of how to eat matoke. So where will you get the fund to start up your creativity? Please, I think these 5 questions will help us. Thank you.
Now I think the debate is getting hot, correct? So here I hope one of the answers is not PDM. No. Wait, Sharon, bring the microphone. I don't want to have a pack of questions. I hope PDM is not one of the answers.
Thank you, Doctor. You asked very pertinent questions. According to sociology of education, a home is a first school. A parent is a first teacher. So when we are talking about education in the 21st century, it would be irrational to look at education in the priests of a university. If you quoted me verbatim, I said education is from birth to death. As the other Professor Patra said, from the cradle to the grave. So you asked if our education is to be relevant, there must be collaborative and concerted efforts beginning from the home vis-a-vis the parenting, what is taking place in a home. So when we are talking about education being creative, we should begin from our homes. If a parent discovers that this child likes mechanics, likes wiring, if a parent discovers that this child likes music, it is a duty of the parent to create a conducive atmosphere for this child to unlock his or her talent, potentiality, fullness. You talked about policy. We gravitate to see educationists, academicians in the university helping the government to create policies that can be adopted by the government. For example, if there is faculty of education at Valley University of Science and Technology, can you sit down and say, we would gravitate our education to go in this line? Apart from teaching students methods, philosophy, psychology, development studies, what can you make a research that can help government to create good educational policies that are relevant in the 21st century, that can end up mitigating nation's challenges? Then lastly,
Mr. Hillary, before you end, the other day your government passed a bill in parliament that criminalizes citizens inputting or helping the government to appreciate and improve its policies. The law was passed just the other day. So I am wondering, because usually, naturally, you know, there's benchmarking. So if I go to the US and my US counterparts give me knowledge and I have to help improve the policy here locally, so the government says you can't do that and I'm going to become a foreigner. So how does that relate to what you're talking in the academic sense?
I know Mr. Kakonga where he's taking me, and I will deliberately avoid him. I will deliberately avoid him. Doctor, you also talked about richest professors are not rich, and people who are rich are politicians. Politics. You say the richness in Africa is found in the altar of politics. But I wanted to disabuse that. How do you define wealth? To me, a professor is the richest guy. It depends on how you interpret wealth. To me, wealth, legacy, should be hinged on number of lives you have touched. Yes. I wanted also to bring out to what they call humanity-centered life,
Mr. Igambiri,
versus materialism-centered life.
Mr. Igambiri, since I'm no, you keep standing. I have to help the audience to pick the best out of the question. Now, because the question is, where do these professors pick the motivation to invest in innovative activities, yet we know that if I went into politics, I would earn money and be rich. Why won't this professor go into politics? Because that's where the money is. And in doing that, because what happens then, people who have knowledge are into politics, and those who don't have knowledge are not doing anything. And so those who are supposed to do something are getting free money. As you know, the rich in Uganda, they corrupt.
I will discern making my presentation very political. To me, to be rich is a choice. There is another writer who said, poverty is a mental problem. Doctor, I have my friend, is teaching at Mbara University of Science and Technology. He earns a lot of money from research. The other week, he was in Boston. He went and made a presentation. He's my friend. We studied together. So, to allege and claim that professors, you know, like you have made a death sentence that they should be poor. To me, to be poor is a choice. Education in the 21st century should aim at the progress of humanity. Progress of humanity. Yes, we need wealth. I concur with you, Mr. Kakong. Let us get wealth in a very honorable way. I don't support people who accumulate wealth in a very dishonorable way. I also really don't support that.
No,
but I want to say,
finally, do you have a fund in this country where innovators or potential innovators can tap into so that they can invest in these new ideas? Or do we even have people who can finance these new ideas? And that was his last question. So now I have the idea. I'm from VAST. I am going home. I want to start doing something. Where is the fund?
In Uganda, we have Minister of Science and Technology. A very key example is Professor Muranga. You know her. So the moment you stand out, you develop your research, and it is convincing the government, it can be adopted not only in Uganda, elsewhere. The world has become a global village. So I don't think someone can make his research, and that research can aim at mitigating nations' problems, and it is discarded. I don't think. I'm also a citizen of this world. So
okay. Now, that's fine. No, because I don't want to exhaust you. I want to have. Sorry. Sharon, don't run away. Now, because this is an academic conversation, right? And so in the discourse, we have to look at different sides. I know my brother here is because of his position, and I know his views about some of these questions that the professor talked about, but I know he might not have the sufficient legroom to say much, but you know what he would have said but that aside, before I will come to you, I want two other people to, if you have something to say, the questions he raised, they are very pertinent questions about the place of the university, which he explained that education, yes, but still, like we've been saying, people still blame universities for not producing the right people. So the question is, why are we blaming the universities alone? Which he said that learning starts when you're born, in your home. Because today, you hear parents say, we are going to send our children and want them to do sciences, even when they get 9s. Because they know that's where the money is, the jobs. And I think, Doctor, that's where we have a problem, that people are studying for the jobs, not create the jobs, which he talked about. And so then we blame the universities for giving us the wrong people. because of the expectations we create. Do we have one or two people who are going to speak to the questions, and then I can get back to one or two? Yes? If there is, yes, my brother Smartson. So once that is done, I will get to the students, and then we'll move around.
Thank you. Thank you, moderator. I'm Smartson Togume, Head of Faculty of Science and Technology. On the question that was set from our doctor to our guest speaker, why is education looked at as if it is just studying, not getting exactly what one wishes to be? To me, I think we have these three challenges. One, digital divide. In digital divide is why you find that the technology is for only people who are illiterate. Meaning, if I didn't go to school, getting to know what science is talking about, I will not have any choice of getting knowledge. That's one. Two, there is a lack of inequality to access. For example, if I'm studying from VAST is giving nice quality education, the lectures are fine. What about the other sister institution? Are we on the same level? Do we have the same things that we are supposed to have as all Ugandans? So if the government can also help in like having access on equal distribution of resources, because if let's say the university is chartered, we should all have the same distribution of resources as long as the institution has acquired that level. So that's what I'm talking about education. Thirdly, there is what we call funding and infrastructure. Really, if the infrastructure is poor, the technology is poor, everything is poor, definitely any person who is educated will always look to be as a person who is just standing but not financially capable of doing something. Thank you. And the mind of thinking and not being financed, definitely the ideas shall always die. Ideas are there, but they're not funded, and we shall remain poor but educated. Thank you, Submit.
Thank you very much, Smartson. The divide and the inequality in access, but also if you look at internet connectivity these days, which drives the better part of technology. Connectivity doesn't trust. You have internet, you can't connect to a big site or something useful, and so it becomes a bit of a problem, especially if you are in the countryside. So most of these facilities are left to people in Kampala, who we also know live in the floods. So, So that lady standing, she's been standing and she's burning to speak. Your name is, please?
Okay, the invited guests, the VC, USC, heads of department, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Natujuka Josephine, GRC, representing bachelors in early childhood education. Do you know that in the 20th century, the world asked children, what do you know? Do you know that in the 21st century, the world is asking children, what can you do with what you know? Can you think? Can you create? Can you adopt? Distinguished guests, allow me let you know that if our education system cannot answer these new questions, then it has lost its relevance. And that is the crisis, the opportunity we need to address today. I would like to let you know that the adoption of the Western culture demolished our culture, which resembled the 21st, the education, which resembled the education in the 21st century. It involved skilling. The parents could teach learners what to do. So it really created sort of problem solving than the 20th century. Here I can tell you.
My sister, let me ask a question. What were my grandfather, the father of my grandfathers, was called Chojo.
Yes.
So what do you think Chojo was doing that we miss today?
It's because we are...
No. You have the microphone, so you are not on a hurry.
The adoption of the Western culture changed everything. And the parents in the past years used to teach us the skilling.
That's what I'm asking. Let's
Yes.
simplify things and let's not speak a lot of English.
Yes.
What is it that chose, or the father of my grandfather was doing that we miss today?
That we missed.
So I'm only saying what was done here in Africa in the past that we missed, that has been replaced by the Western education, and we feel like things have changed, maybe for the worst.
Yes. What should we do to replace those ones that we are not done? We should replace skilling through the curiosity. For example, we have the 4 C's, which involves critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and community. When we use those ones, when we put those ones in practice, we can create, we can think, create, find out, and then we collaborate as we communicate, bringing out things to solve problems.
Okay. Thank you very much. My microphone has gone down, but I want to ask ourselves, that the reason we come to universities or we go to school is to learn. This is part of our learning process, okay? So if you're not comfortable with someone's point, I'm going to give the microphone to you and we will check. Okay? So let's tolerate each other because we are adults and everyone is making a point they feel matters today, okay? So I'm going to have another person. So I am going to ask the Vice Chancellor, because we started a bit late, to give me some bit of 20 minutes. Our time is fast spent, but you see we still need like 5 or whatever people to talk. So thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor. And Sharon, take my microphone there. And please let us leave the salutations, those ones have been done. The protocols.
Protocol observed. Our chief guest, thank you very much for what you have shared with us. I'm going to start by supporting my young daughter, because she's coming from my faculty. She had a point, by the way, from the start, she had a point. She was trying to say that the Africa, that's why you are asking what your grand used to do, that they used to do things that are no longer being done today, or even when they are done, they are not given due attention. I remember I've been teaching a course unit of history of education where we talk about what we call indigenous education before the coming in of this missionary education, the form education we have now. Where the parents, for example, used to have enough time with their children when they are going to because right now we are talking about competence-based education, the hands-on, where they used to go, if it is digging, they don't even leave these young girls there when they are going to the farm. They have to go with them. I remember I got an opportunity of staying with my grandmother from P1 up to P7. She used to give me a very small hole. It was equaling very small, such that when you go to the garden, you don't just sit. You are also doing what you cannot be not, but there is something you are doing. And through that, you are running. Yes. They used to do the weaving of baskets. By doing the weaving of baskets, they are teaching these young girls how they can do the weaving. The other time when we had this exhibition here, I personally got challenged by those small girls coming from a certain primary school. They are doing serious weaving. Most of us, I don't want to lie, even myself, I really don't know how to weave that good ndiro that I saw.
So sorry for interrupting. Since it is a debate, I will interrupt. So what is in that we used to do that we need to carry forward into the 21st century, into our current education system, and how is that useful today Does that add value? Does it create resources and wealth? Or we need to leave that in the past and do things differently?
I think we don't need, because even that's why we have been relating this to the kind of education now that we have. We don't need to wholesomely or totally ignore those traditional values. By the way, I'm telling you, that's why you see our guest speaker was talking of morals, yes. And you know, with competence-based education, we talk about attitudes. So we should not, we can, by the way, we can improve alongside, because by the way, we have a lot to benchmark from because for them they use it to practical. And that's why even you see, now Uganda, that's why they are talking of skilling Ugandans. It is about being practical so that we can, that's why she was talking of creating, being innovative. What can you do with the knowledge that you have acquired, the skill? And
before you even give me my microphone back, how does, for example, let me use an example of weaving. These are the things we used to do. When I went to primary, we did these things. How does that propel us to having a rocket space, or to an album of sorts? Or the other day, government was launching a new, is it a vaccine for ticks or whatever it is?
For ticks.
For ticks. So how does this deliver us to?
Of course, it can deliver us to great heights. That's why I'm saying, by looking at what, of course, there are some of the practices which they used to do. We call them like barbaric or what, which we may not need to adopt. But by looking at those positive aspects and we embrace them, we can be able, for example, even we are talking of improving technology and all that. That's why they are talking of innovative strategies. Out of what we call the traditional one, we can even be able to get the modern methods.
So, okay, as you give me my microphone, you were saying we still can weave using technology, okay? We still can make baskets, but using technology. Deploy AI. Because some people think AI is about searching on the website, on the Google. So you can use AI, use technology to weave better baskets, do better pots, and the same things we used to do, but in a better way. So then we can use our own local resources to create wealth and development, right?
Just 1 minute. There is something, because I don't want to stand again. There's something I want.
A minute.
Just 1 minute. You asked and you said that the 21st century education, what it needs to address. And personally, I see that we still have skills gap. Skills gap, as our guest was saying, you find that these students, they go to universities, acquire the knowledge, but they are unable to do the applicability, to apply the skills. So it means the 21st century kind of education need to look at that. Then job market alignment. And I think that's why he talked of the unemployment, where we have Makerere is graduating, Chambogo is graduating, KIU Valley. I asked the class, which these people whom I teach history, I said, all of us are being told to go and look for jobs. Then I posed the question, to tell me the people we are leaving behind to create for us jobs, because we are leaving our grandparents at home. And for us now, after finishing our PhD and our bachelor's, we want to go to look for jobs. Now from where? You answer next time.
Okay.
Then there is also technological integration, technological literacy integration gap, where you find that most of us, we still have, for example, a negative attitude towards ICT integration. So we are talking, because we are seeing that even when we are teaching history, we are talking of entrepreneurship, we are talking of what? We used to know that ICT is for these people, the smartphone. But with the competence-based education, we have come to know that it is not about ICT. But even me who is teaching history, I should apply some. I can
can bring a recorded word and bring it to my students and use it. But so we also have that. Then students' well-being and mental health. Some of us are sick mentally when we are not aware. Ask me how. And the 21st century need to address that. I'm telling you, that's why you hear people hanging themselves. The youth, by the way, most of you, you have been chucked by a boyfriend. That is not a solution. And by the way, you need to be helped. And especially here, we are talking of ICT, social media. Okay. Most of you are brainwashed by, you are just there. Usually see you. Of course, I'm not blaming anybody, even myself. Thank you.
Okay. No, you talked about, Sharon, about the problems that we need to unlock, and I picked from the questions that the doctor raised about political, because he talked about resources as one of the problems that we face in addressing the 21st century education, the policies that our government has, the environment, the operating environment within which we do these things. And he also talked about political alignment, people shifting more into politics than into innovation and creating ways. Production, yes, production. So, and I think, and then the other issues that you raised. There was a hand there, the gentleman in a suit, smart. And in half a minute.
Okay, thank you. I'm a leadership coach, agribusiness consultant, and a climate activist. Good evening. I'm Hoizina Boss. So I'm coming on this issue of relevance of education 21st century. So I'm not challenging anyone here, but if you talk about relevance of education 21st century, but you don't talk about example like China, example like AI integration in education, agriculture, marketing, and tourism, so I'm not with you. We should be using examples like China. How has China come up to improve and develop when other countries like USA, which had developed before, how is it moving using education, which you call, because I've had a delusion from one of our lecturers saying, education from West, it is formal. You're calling our education informal because it is not talking about English. We are not talking about English in 21st century. We have to talk about problem, getting a solution for the problem, and integrating it using technology to get the solution. So I want to ask the question now to the LRDC. His office is political. He might not give us answers. In Uganda, you have said,
I can assure you he will.
He has said this country has said this, now the world, it is one, the world is becoming a global village. But yesterday you just passed a sovereignty bill. Most of the NGOs in Uganda, which are skilling Ugandans, are getting finances from abroad. They are making research and getting financed by other countries, which we can't do. And now you're saying it is a global village. It is one of the impediments to integrating education in 21st century. That is funding. Because of government, because of protecting our sovereignty, what? So we want to bring, how are we going to get funding, support this education we want of competence-based learning, of improving technology, of integrating AI in Uganda. If we can't secure funding, if we can't allow to get knowledge from outside, from countries like China and the other developed countries, how are we going to get that funding and knowledge from outside? Thank you.
But just even before he comes, the sovereignty bill did not stop knowledge transfer from the West to Africa.
I'm talking
Although
about...
It curtails financing to non-state actors, but I think generally it does not stop everything.
On research. Research, because most of the research funding comes from outside. It is fine, I know below 2% of research funding comes from Uganda. So you should not protect it also. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So you're right. You're right. Who else? Do we have one or two people? People in the middle and in the back. There is a lady there in a t-shirt. Now, people on this side, you don't want to speak? Or you are satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Protocol observed with due respect. I'm Namara Diana Brenda, a BOP student, year 2.2. My question goes to anyone who can answer it. We have been talking of education, the importance of education, and how we can relate it in this 21st century. There is a problem which has not been addressed and which is separating people. For example, the teachers were separated, they are in parts now. And this comes to the student. I'm a primary teacher. We have seen all parents moving to the side of science. They have to pay in money so that their children learn science, even if they are not even capable and they have not even gained those points responsible for the science part. Now, to me, the RDC will help us because it came right from up. I don't know whether they discussed about it. You go on to sensitize the parents to level their children. Because we have seen, even here at the university, you will find many students in the science department and a few in arts. So, is art no longer part of education? Thank you.
You have many supporters in the you like me, we are in the same boat. So why not we swim together? But we are in the same boat and we will swim together in the boat which is asking those hard questions. But that's the thing he talked about. STEM and humanities. How do you balance the two? Because each requires the other. You do not, because if you want a scientist to be doing these things, but you also need humanities to be doing other things, okay? So, and the policy has not discouraged either. Although, from the perspective of innovation, they are encouraging science so that we can have more people putting their feet into doing better things that can create solutions for our problems. Not that humanities people can't create solutions, because I create social problems and social solutions, but we also need innovation. People are going to build better structures. But he also talked about it, that most of those who would be encouraged to do science find more money in politics. So why do I need to spend 6 years on medicine? Yet as a social scientist like me, I can be rich by becoming an MP. Okay? I think even Mr. Gambrin, I heard your salaries are being raised to some serious amount of money. No, I will get back to you. Do we have someone here? Now I want to give a microphone to someone here. Take that microphone here, bring it here, return it here, and back to me.
Protocol observed. Mwalimu Paul, my name. BEP 1.2. As the main speaker, the RDC, you have talked of innovation and skilling and etc. Take an example. We all teachers, your information, I myself am so innovative. But in most cases, most of the speakers, there are 3 aspects they normally try to cover up. One, there is a point of resource. Somebody mentioned it. Because innovation itself needs money. Take an example. I'm capable of doing something, but at least there must be something in terms of finance. Then another one, there is a point of flow. Take an example, an item writer or book writer, let me use that word. I need somebody to give me a flow, because if I'm not a prophet of lies, or if I'm not a prophet of lie, RDC, there must be somebody who created you a flow to be appointed the RDC. Another one. Then there is also the problem we are having. I'm still speaking. Another point we are having. In all sectors, mainly somebody was asking that what is the major problem affecting education in this century? Somebody mentioned that one, but was like this one. We're having the problem of making everything, involving politics in everything. Education itself, whenever something is coming, it comes over, politics is behind it or is ahead of it. Take an example. Somebody has mentioned of science and the other thing. Somebody was, the programmer was asking the RDC, I'm just here following the information. RDC is the salary the president has already approved for increment. When you see for the teachers and the lecturers, those in private, teachers, they add what we call a peanut. Then for those topmost members, they add something. Now, if I'm so, and again, what is the difference between scaling and technology? Because even when they are doing something, I normally ask my fellow comrades, those who normally think wise, what is the difference between science as a subject and science as a technology? I don't know. Those two things.
Okay. RDC, my apologies for setting people against you, but that is the reality of life.
So
no. Let's talk.
Okay.
Finish as you finish.
Okay. Then in addition, then lastly, as I don't know whether you will answer this one. Lastly, because there is this, my friend, this Pororumumbo of the Chikuyu man from Kenya. Nobody says people are always chosen to advise, but those people they are the people who are always advised. Now, as you are on the other rotating table, try to advise that gentleman, our head of the country.
To do what?
I'm just giving.
Advise him to do what?
Take an example. When something is coming, take an example, because as somebody was saying, we may take an example, as it is innovative, let that thing be funded well, such that all people can admire. They can admire to take part in it, because now you are enforcing skilling and innovating. I myself, I will take part, which is very okay. But you will find those people who are taking part, as a certain lecturer has mentioned, they are the people of the commoners, and of which those people are not, they don't attract others to take part in it. Thank you. I beg to submit.
The microphone here. The microphone here. And then you will bring it to this side and we wind up.
Thank you so much. My name is Triamsima Andrew.
Okay.
I'm offering my bachelor's degree in primary education in year 2. But the problem with education in the 21st century, Mr. RDC, I must tell you, is on policy. For example, when this new curriculum was being brought to secondary schools, there was no benchmarking. When you can visit the secondary schools around, did you go there to benchmark, to see whether they have enough land to carry out practicals? Number 2, are those teachers who are in secondary schools equipped with the skills which they can impart in the students they are teaching? But they simply sleep, then on dreaming, they say, let us do this. Surely, that one is not good. Lastly, you are advocating for technical...
Wait.
Yes.
Who are you saying they sleep? They. Qualify they. They, you meant who?
The policy makers. The policy makers.
Are they human beings in Uganda?
They are there.
They are Ugandans?
Yes.
Okay.
Lastly, whenever a government official stands to tell Ugandans on the issue of technical and vocational education, they normally blame us, the students who have graduated, that for you have graduated, you don't want to go and start your own projects, you skill yourselves. Then my question goes, if you, the government officials, are saying that technical and vocational education is the best way to go. Are your children put in those institutions to also acquire those skills so that we, the ordinary Ugandans, can also embrace and know that really this one is good? Because the Bible says that you cannot give what you don't have. If you are advocating for it, you also put your children there, they learn those skills so that you can also copy from them. I beg to submit.
No. Don't take the microphone away from him. No. Because you see, I have always argued that the majority sometimes become dictators over the minority. The question I want to pose to you, do you strongly believe that vocational or whatever technical education?
I strongly believe. But my question is...
Thank you very much. No, that is a better conclusion because then now people can't get up. Give the microphone to him.
Thank you so much.
So, who was the guild president? You are the guild, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kakonge, my friend. To the question you have asked, yes, I do believe.
Can we listen to the big man speaking?
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to send a comparison. The comparison here is between the undeveloped countries and the developed countries. America is where it is because it can access the resources. The education system in the 21st century is relevant in Uganda, but the problem or the limitation is on the resources. Uganda would be like America, but the problem here in Uganda is that we don't have the resources that can make us push to the level that America is. I beg to submit.
My brother, before you even beg to submit, because I'm not going to allow you to talk. Now, because the question that we also ask ourselves is that those we see today must have started somewhere. Where did they start from and what did they have at the time?
Yes, listen.
No, wait. So can we start and where can we start from? Because I think if we keep saying, because we know where they are and that's not where we are. Here, I am only trying to help Gambling so that he doesn't answer that question. Where we are and their resources is in their knowledge that we can start with to do what we ought to do.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Uganda has started. The CBC is already in place. All the schools have begun skilling. If certain students have been allowed to begin baking cakes, they have started already. Students have started making sanitizer. Students have started making these we use to clean the flush toilets and the houses. But as the time keeps on moving, do we continue to access the resources or the resources are still limited? That's where I wage my debate. Thank you again.
Okay, the microphone today. Okay.
Good evening again. I think the last time I asked question, now let me contribute. The truth is, I will try to talk in 3 areas. Number one, the policy. In as much as we want to be creative, in Africa's setting, there is a limitation. Because our government don't give academians the opportunity. That is the basic truth. Now, I don't want to go to your sovereign bill. It's too debatable in Uganda. You know, as a foreigner, I may be tempted not to go there. But I will give something very simple. If you move around, you see that the temporary structures have been demolished. So imagine if you read computer science and then you decided to go into the industry. You want to now put your computer science into practice and you got one shop. You know, you don't have money to get a building. And you rented one temporary something there you're trying to. And then it has been destroyed. You see that now, did the government really consult enough to take that decision? The people who took that decision and passed it in parliament, did they really consult to know? You get? So on policy, it is very important. No matter how much we speak here, policy matter. Now, how does it tie? Let's look at the Western world. Let's look at their president, their parliament, their politicians. if you check, they are all educated. Look at US. Look at it. If you go to each senator in US, you will see their profile and their educational profile. Now, how does it translate? If I am an MP and I have a PhD in accounting, and then a B comes that is debating on financial matter, the way I will contribute, will it be the same way with someone who stop at S4 and then somehow find itself in parliament? You get my point? So the truth is, we cannot talk as in policy affect. Now, I haven't said that. Now, let's still go back to the Western world like I was trying to say. What is the educational practice in China? Because that is the emerging power block of the world. Do everybody need to come to a university? You get my point I'm saying? Now, I've studied China. Now, you see, if you want to go into business after your secondary school, because in the world, the basic point is secondary school. You finish secondary school, you look for a business school. You join a business school, and they teach you what? Business. So now, you don't even need a university education to be a businessman. Now, but now you're coming to a university, you're asking me who have been trained to teach theories, because that is my mandate, to force business to teach people reading business. But the truth is, the mandate should have been, I give them a foundation so that when they leave here and then go into a business school, they will have an advantage. Now, let me buttress it further. I read biochemistry at undergraduate. Now, there are certain universities, I read Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry. I want us to understand the difference. There are certain universities that offer biochemistry technology. Now, what is the difference? There is a part where I will stop in theory and practice, and there is a part where they will continue. They are trained to be in the lab, a biochemistry what? Lab. But I am not trained to be in a biochemistry what? Lab. Now, if you come today and I say, okay, because I read biochemistry and he read biochemistry technology, I should start doing the work of a biochemistry technologist. I think you are demanding from me what I am not supposed to do. So if you want to be in the lab for biochemistry, what course do you need to do? You go to a biochemistry what? Technology. You're getting the point. So you see that the curriculum design and what is expected is what actually determines if we'll be creative and innovative or not. Now, having said that, let me finally end with this. There is this debate between science and humanities. My dean is not here. I think I responded to him in the group. Now, let me ask, how much do you pay for the school fees of humanities and art? And how much do you pay for the school fees of science? Are you following me? Now you realize that now what do you need to read a social science? And what do you need to read science? Let me give you a very practical example. I did a PhD in biochemistry. And somebody did a PhD in management. In our research, the person spent 5 million to do his research, right? I spent 50 million to do my research. And then when we graduate, you expect me, who have paid 7 million per semester for 3 years, are you following? Do you do the calculation? And spent 50 million in my research to earn the same salary with someone who paid 1.5 million per semester for 3 years and used 5 million in his research, right? The issue of science and humanities, that debate should not even come. It should not come at all. That is true. That is why I said, if you want to create that debate, then first of all, equilibrate the school fees. Let both science and art pay the same what? school fees. But the question is it possible? Let's go to agriculture where I teach. I needed an electron microscope for my student to view a virus, right? ARA is here. How much does an electron transmission microscope cost? 85 million. And then a school purchased 85 million for one. And then you expect the student to pay the same school fees with someone who just needs papers. So the truth is, the debate will not come. Let me end it. Thank you.
Now you. No, but no. Sharon, stay with the microphone that side. Now you see, now, ladies and gentlemen, you see the people who sat with the president when he was giving more salary to scientists. You see them? Yeah, you have seen them. I mean, if I were the president, seated here as your moderator today, I would make the decision somehow the way he did. Because, you see, his argument is more scientific and convincing. Scientific and convincing. So if men like him sat with the president and said, you see, these other people, you spend a lot of time reading papers. For us, we are reagents, what? Microscopes, what? Things like, when you are a president, you get confused. So to get out of the confusion, because you won't find out the answer, you say, you people, because you know he's an artist, you have not heard about it. That microphone. Because then what you do, say, you guys, these things are conceptually complex. I have given you money, go home, don't disturb me again. That is how they went home and they earned 4 million. Okay? So when you go home and you are still like me who reads from the papers, send your children to read from the lab. And now that's how I wanted to crown the conversation from the audience and bring it back to my panelists. I will start with the two. Sharon, you will give the microphone to the two. Your parting shots in a minute or less. And then I will return back to my elder brother Hilary, who will, which is this word you use? You call it, you call it odombrate. What is it? To adambrate. Adambrate. Yes. Now there are things that are a bit complex because these are reserved for other dishes. So forgive me if I don't get it right, but he will say it when he stands. My sister. A minute.
Thank you very much, our moderator. Thank you very much. No. I want to begin from what the last speaker has said about the scientists and the arts. Seriously, the man has convinced us. Let's try hard so that our children, we should learn more so that we study sciences. Then, allow me also to encourage all the students to do what brought us here at Very University of Science and Technology and achieve our goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My brother, it's your turn. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. For me, I'm not convinced with these scientists. To an extent that they should innovate what they study. We need to see what they have learned. Because if they say that they do a lot of practicals in their laboratories, for us we study a lot of papers which we don't put in practice. What is on ground? How are we convinced that they are scientists? If I am the president, I would change. But anyway, I'm not. It is like if 10. Now, what I'm saying is...
But you need to have some malaria tonight, then you'll understand it.
Oh, right. I had a point before. Really, you people, it is not that we don't put in practice what we study. It de facto remains we don't have to use. Lack of resources to use in what we study. If we all had what it takes, put in practice what we studied, we could change something. Because I can see, I have even seen this new curriculum. They are going back to the drawing board just to think about what was in the informal education. Rethinking. That's great. Because when you look at the new curriculum these days, they are just practicing what they left there with our grandparents used to do. So maybe the Uganda we shall have in future will be different when they continue this new curriculum. Lastly, I'm sure we need to innovate, as we said. One day, one time, Uganda helped Saudi Arabia in 1899, in 70s. Uganda helped. It was Honorable Minister Moses Ari, that man who is still in parliament. You know him and how he does his things. He took the aid to that very country. But in fact, I don't know how I can call it. Very many Ugandans run to that very place for what? And they call it they have gone abroad. Ladies and gentlemen, if we study education, I love science and technology from Valley University, and to your surprise, we were like five people who went to seek for a job in certain district. The 5 people from Valley University were given. That means that Valley University is doing something very great. It is with put in practice. I beg to wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Now, give the microphone to the VC.
I want to start from where he has ended. One is that in 1945, the Asian tigers which he was referring to were at the same level with Uganda. So what matters is the thinking, the vision of the leadership, whether you like or not. Because in some of those countries, you are caught stealing money, corrupt, they will shoot you. In the 1970s, yes, President Amin donated to Dubai. It was a very, very poor country. In 1970, I was here alive. Now, what is Dubai? So the problem is leadership. Back on vocational education versus humanities. Yeah, those Asian tigers invested in relevant education, which was science, not necessarily leaving humanities behind. Now, someone, I think it is him, who was talking about the sons of RDCs and ministers doing vocational education. The advanced form of vocational education is STEM. STEM. Science, engineering, technology, and mathematics. And you don't have to necessarily start from a degree. Those brothers from where you come from, Vitereko where? Kanyabwanga. You go on advancing and you become an engineer. So the problem is career guidance. I think I'm helping you. The problem is career guidance and thinking. Yeah, so let's put facts right. Yeah. One, I have said, 1945. By the way, that is the year when I was born. Uganda was at the same level with those Asian tigers. But they saw that they saw the problem. That is also Museveni. That's why he's called Museveni. That's when he was born. But 7 after Second World War. So relevance of education in the 21st century should think about where the country should be going. There has been a claim about science and arts teachers. Yeah, if you are following next July, I'm helping you, sir. They are going to be paid much better money than what they are earning, although it is in a phased manner. You see, one of the problems we have is the presidential advisors, these people. Sometimes the president becomes rational. Mwisho muntu mukusomesa mathematics na wena aza kuinvetinga mamiliyoni na nemtwala tano lero kumamhasha tu. So sometimes you need to analyze of the problem. I'm sorry I'm taking a bit long, but what we need clean, whether you like it or not. Sometimes nimbuza abantu abunchi nimbuzara mukashwera. If you are in power in the government, why are you going to leave your country? You people at your age bracket. If the country remains like this, it's going nowhere. Huh? If a country, why I did babarahe ninga mushomufas for some time, for the next 30 years, because abana mzakubasiga muihangachi. Relevance of education in the 21st century. If you don't plan for the MPs, who they what? You don't plan for your children. Why can't you tell your wives to go home, to go back? Sorry.
This side is unfair. You didn't listen. Not because the question of leadership stands out, but since I was a moderator, I didn't want to engage into but the question of leadership. There is a book I have read, So Many Leaders, So Little Leadership. Have you read that book? Look for it and read it. You have so many people called leaders, over 100,000 Ugandans are in leadership position, but they are not adding value. Now I am going to invite my brother so that you give your parting shots. Professor helped you on some of them, extreme as you might think, you might look at them, I know. But so that then are you? Okay.
Yeah, I think I can have like 1 minute, Vice Chancellor. Thanks for supplementing. Patriots must have hope, must believe in their country. I want to add on what he said. Government is making a phased salary increment. And again, don't blame His Excellency Kaguta Museveni on promoting sciences. He did it out of patriotic ideological clarity, because he observed that we had a vacuum vis-a-vis sciences. So he did it out of patriotic heart. Then again, there was some student who said, I want us not to have that thinking, that to get a life opportunity, someone must connect you. We must come up with an attitude of making yourself. There is a man called Isaac. Isaac, come here. This man did journalism. During COVID-19, you remember we had scientific weddings. So this man had to think big. He started Venus online radio. Now this man is highly demanded when it comes to burials, wedding parties, graduations. He sings online. Now he's a celebrated online. The man is making business out of online. You know, you call it online what? Business. So we need to think big. A digital space is here. I know him. Then when it comes, I wanted also to do some use connecting. No one connected me to be an assistant at RDC. No, from 2004, Mr. Kokonge can remember, I've been active on radio. I've been active on social media. And out of that, I think government found it imperative to appoint me. So I wanted to put that, doing everything, connecting. Then lastly, someone said our children will not go to technical schools. I wanted to inform you I'm having 2 children at Chamunga Technical Institute. One is doing plumbing, another one is doing automobile. I want also to supplement what the Vice Chancellor said. There is a principal of Uganda Technical College, Kahaya. After senior 4, he went and did a certificate, technical. He went for a diploma, did a master's, is now completing his PhD. So, I want to confirm, these Chinese we see coming here in Uganda to make roads, they are not university graduates. They completed senior 4, direct went to vocational and did that. Then lastly, I forgot to say one thing. Education in the 21st century should make us have faith with reason. Faith. You find a graduate in so-called churches looking for miracles, and a pastor brings sodas. He says, this is Fanta, they are blessed. You are going to get a visa and you go to Dubai. You find a graduate is just there. So I gravitate and pray. Education in the 21st century, yes, we should have faith. We should be spiritual, but let us have faith with reason. Permit me to thank University Administration under the tutorage of our Vice Chancellor, Doctor, the Academic Registrar, for having identified me to come and make my humble presentation. My presentation was not very much scholarly, but really, I hope you guys supplemented me, and I think the topic was very, very nice. I take it as a very singular honor to make a presentation for a family of academia like this. Please, I don't take it for granted. For God and my country.
I also don't take it for granted that I was the moderator of this session. The business I transact every day. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you who sat in this room, listened, made your contributions, nodded in approval and disapproval, clapped, smiled, felt annoyed, or whatever feeling you had. I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the VC, my elder, for creating this space. It is a very good space for us to be able to share ideas. And more so for bringing us people from outside into the university so that probably we can create a different environment for the conversation. I want to thank my elder doctor. Thank you very much, the AR. He came to my office and said, man, you have to come, and because you are the one who spends time doing these things, you come and also add value if there is value to add anyway. I hope I have added value. If I have not, forgive me in advance. But if I have, don't I deserve a hand clap? To everyone who listened, there are people who are online. I saw people sending me messages here on chat. They were watching online. Isaac has added value. I think we also thank you very much for being very good active participants, for having the university. Me, when I come here, I don't just come here because I am a moderator. I come here because I love this institution. I love this university. I have had my siblings come here, graduate, and get jobs. I have also had several students from, some students actually who have even worked with us where you work, and they have been incredible employees. So please keep it up in shaping the right people into becoming good employees. I want to thank Igambirine and your colleagues here for sharing knowledge. I also took notes. As you can see, I have 4 pages of notes. Me, when people are speaking and they are speaking sense, I write. So that when I go elsewhere, I look at these things that people say, and it informs my conversations in the public domain. So now, you see, I am going home a better person than I was when I came. I have not been in his class. So today I was also your student, why I also moderated you. So I was your student, I learned, especially many things, integration. But the doctor there, I wish you were Ugandan. But like they say, if wishes were horses, because I mean, that is it for us Ugandans, we calm down. We calm down and we said, like our motto says, for God and my country. I want to now invite the academic registrar to invite the person who will close this debate. I thank you very much. God bless you.
Thanks very much, Madam Moderator. I would like to thank the guest speaker for today for the job well done. Can you clap for him? Clap again for the moderator. You clap again for yourselves for coming. I am extremely happy that today this public lecture has been a success. Really, I was very happy. Thanks very much. Because for the first time, the hall was full, and even we had other clients outside seated. Initially, I had organized it in the small room down there, but some people advised me that, you see, you are likely to have more people. And I thank the team that helped me mobilize. Sharon and the team, and Massey, and the rest, the head of departments and the deans of faculties. I'm very happy because they have teamed up with me to mobilize and organize this wonderful day. You clap for them. Yeah, now, just before I call the closing professor, when Professor Ife was talking about that when there is a problem in the education system, they normally throw an eye to the university professors. University professors are supposed to do research. So the first question was, what was the mandate of the university? It is teaching, research, and community engagement. That is the mandate of the university. Teaching, research, and community engagement. Then, when he came to the question of saying, when there is a problem in the education system, why do they blame university professors? Yeah, university professors are supposed to do research, applied research, find out problems of society, and be able to come up with proposed policies which will help government implement and avert those problems. When some of us who studied what is policy, a policy cannot come up from a vacuum. Whenever a policy has come into existence, there must have been a problem that professors or academicians or any other person has identified. And once that problem is identified, it must be someone must come up with a solution to solve that problem. That is, in simple terms, that's a policy. How a policy may come up. And therefore, university professors are supposed to be the eye of society. They look at problems, do research, applied research, and write papers, advise government, come up with policies that will be implemented to solve the problems. But in most cases, they are limited. The findings may not be there. A professor may be there, but has no has no funds to do research. They are supposed to be driving Prados, but they are driving these small cars. These small cars. You see what I'm driving? I'm a professor, but I know I have the knowledge, and I'm guiding everybody here. But the funding is not there to do enough research and come up with policies. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this juncture to invite the Vice Chancellor, our dear Vice Chancellor, to come and close this function officially. Thanks very much.
According to the program, there was somebody else, and I'm not advised that he will close. So without wasting time, I want to thank the presenter,